Welcome back to another 12 Days of Starlight. I'm Katie.
Ethan here.
Today we have the infamous or famous, whichever one you want to call it, cigar batch. Infamous because most people can't find it. Famous because it's a lovable whiskey. It's a bourbon finished in an Amburana barrel. It comes in at about 112, 113 proof. And man, the spice on the nose.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Amburana, for people who don't know, it's a Brazilian wood. Some people call it a Brazilian oak, but that's not correct. It's just a Brazilian tree that grows called the Amburana tree. And somebody decided they were going to make barrels out of it. They decided that they were going to ship those barrels here, and people started finishing whiskey in them. I'm sure there's more going on down in Brazil with this. I would assume a lot of rum. But around here, I've had bourbon and rye and Amburana, and that's about it. I've had it from a few different places. It's a super tight grain, and it gives this crazy Christmas spice flavor to whiskey. And one more interesting fact before I get off my nerd horse is Starlight does multiple fill of their Amburana barrels. So for example, if you have a cigar batch and it's not as crazy over the top Christmas, it's probably a later fill. So for example, my Sano's liquor down in Ocean Springs, Mississippi, he passed on the early, the first and second fills, Amburana, but he liked the third fill. So keep that in mind when you're getting these. If you know who's doing the picks, you can ask them about them. Might get some good information there. But you can also just kind of investigate the whiskey yourself. From what we've heard, they do kind of jump out as to whether it's a first fill or not.
Color, flavor, that's where it jumps out. I wouldn't even venture a guess on this one. It could be a first or second fill. It's not super dark. But we'll see. Yeah, let's get into the nose on this one.
Yeah, I will venture a guess. I think this is probably a first fill.
For me, this is French Toast Crunch.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's incredibly specific too, because it's such a huge vanilla punch, but not in a barrel vanilla way, in a spice way. Like you've taken like vanilla beans and you've grated them, and you just dropped them in on accident and kept dropping them in on accident. It's insane, the spice that you get off this bottle.
I will say the oak does come through, or the Brazilian wood.
Yes.
The Amburana does come through on this. You can definitely smell the earthiness to it as well. Mm-hmm. It's very viscous, and looking at it, it has long legs on the glass before even a first sip of it. But wow, now to the taste.
Yeah, per usual, I'm ahead of Katie, and that's fine. The bourbon character on this is real light. There's some corn sweetness there, but that's about it. Other than that, Amburana takes over for me.
Yeah, I would say cinnamon, nutmeg, maybe a little bit of maple in there. Maybe not syrup. Not necessarily maple, but syrup for me. Because it is so viscous. It is so thick.
So I agree, and I don't think it's maple. I would actually call it a birch syrup.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's a little more savory, it's a little bit less sweet. So, for anyone who's interested, Whistle Pig does some finishes of their 12-year line in birch syrup barrels. Super interesting pour. Still not sure it's worth the money, but super interesting pour if you ever see one at a bar. Definitely take a look.
The spice level on this is out of this world. Like it would compete with like rye spice almost, as far as like just overall baking spice. Kind of packs a punch.
But it's a different spice though, right?
Right.
Because like for me, this is so I mentioned vanilla, and at first it was, but on the palate, it's cinnamon, and it's just raw cinnamon.
Yep.
And so if you don't like cinnamon, this is not the bottle for you. Don't do it. Run the other way. But if you like Christmas spice, then this has got it in spades.
We've shared this bottle with a number of people, and every time they say it is a Christmas bottle. I think last year for Christmas we brought it to a bottle share with some friends of ours down in Louisiana, and they instantly fell in love with it and called it their Christmas bottle. Now, good luck finding it. It's slowly becoming more available. Originally, it was very hard to find one of these cigar batches unless you were in the Indiana area or were a part of a club that could get them. We got this one, I think, as we mentioned, from Seal Box.
Yeah, and so I'll say this, it's really hard to tell how this is on proof because I get what almost seems like some proof, but I don't think it is. I think it's that heavy, raw baking spice that's coming at me.
I see what you're saying. It is hard to say if it is proof or not, but I agree with you. I think it is spice.
Because it's hitting me kind of like a rye spice, but it's different. It's not the same. The flavor profile is different, and it's more the front of the palate instead of the back.
Correct. It hits you at once, not an extended like release. It doesn't hit you throughout the entirety of the glass. It definitely changes. Yeah. It goes big, heavy spice up front, cinnamon spice. Then, like you said, vanilla beans towards the finish, and a little bit of corn sweetness at the very tail end for me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree.
If you've seen this bottle, let us know. If you like it, let us know that too. If you don't, maybe keep that to yourself this time because we really like this bottle. But we'd still like to hear it anyway, so let us know your thoughts.
Please like and subscribe. We're glad you're here. We hope you keep coming back, and we hope to share more videos with you in the future.
Cheers all.
Cheers, y'all.